I was inspired to start today's project for some kind of unfortunate reasons, but I think it's going to end up in a result that's really, really cool. So if you don't know, lately I've been doing a little bit of an exploration and some research into making different things with used fabrics. So over on my shelf over there, I have a bunch of different samples of stuff that was either left over from other sewing projects or just a lot of used clothes, a bunch of different types of textiles, and I've been seeing what we can make with them, what the limitations are, what the possibilities are. And so included in that, I've been dyeing the fabrics different colors, and I've been working on building sort of a swatch catalog where I see how a bunch of different baseline textures and prints and colors react to different colors of dye. Part of this has meant that I have a bunch of fabrics that can be a bunch of different colors of the rainbow. So I thought today we would take a little bit of my stash and we're going to be transforming it into a quilt that kind of might look like a pride flag. Not an actual pride flag. Oh no. That's gay. Just a quilt that is a rainbow that maybe if you squint hard enough kind of looks like one, but we're going to get into why. I'm getting ahead of myself. So yesterday I sat down and sketched out some different ideas for how I'm going to go about this. I am planning to have 3 different versions that I'm going to try. For 2 of them, I'm just going to do the very basic rainbow stripes there. I don't know what I'm doing. This, I'm going to do a small version and a slightly bigger version. And then I want to try doing this one. This was kind of what I settled on, where I'm going to use like half square triangles and just go for it that way. This would be a little bit more complicated than the quilting stuff that I've done so far, but I feel like it's not too bad. So then once I had kind of a rough idea of how many of each I would need, I went through my stash over here. I have them sorted like kind of by size right now. And I picked out some that were already in the right color that I would need, but also some that needed to be dyed. So let's go grab them from the drying rack and take a look. Okay, so just on first inspection here, it seems like the colors are probably going to be fine. So up here is the pile of ones that were already the right color that did not get dyed that I just put aside. So this was one for the orange. We got purple. Okay, we got some of the yellows here. The blues. I have so much blue. Blue is definitely by far the fabric color that I have the most of. Okay, so I'm gonna go through each stack here and I'm just gonna sort them into their colors and then we'll go through and see how they turned out. While I'm doing this, if you haven't heard, pride flags are currently being banned from a lot of spaces. Mostly I've seen in the US, but also some in Canada and some around the world. As I'm recording this, I think I heard that performers weren't allowed to have them at Eurovision, but for sure I've seen in like schools, community centers, there's different places that have been removing them or banning them. And you guys can probably guess how I feel about this, but I think this is sad, but also just kind of dumb. You know, for some places they're being like, okay, any flag is banned that has anything depicted on it other than the exact geographical location where we happen to be right now. Like they do it in this sort of weird covert way where it's like, okay, it's very convenient that the pride flag happens to be a flag. What is our definition of a flag? Is a flag the symbol for a country? Or is a flag just anything that's printed on fabric? Because then kind of anything is a flag, right? And that's why, like, you can pretend to be doing this for any reason that you want. You can say that, you know, it's banning geographical flags and, oh no, you know, a pride flag is just an unfortunate, unintended victim of this. But a pride flag is just a pure symbol of love. So obviously, if this was something where you had to ban geographical flags, I think it's pretty obvious that the pride flag would be an exception. You know, this rule is not confusing because it's a rule that's meant to just get rid of pride flags. And this type of thing happens all the time. I could give you a billion examples, especially in Canada, but right now we're talking about pride flags. So as a result of these bans, I have seen some people coming up with some pretty fun and creative little workarounds around this, and that's what made me think about doing this. I mean, luckily it is a rainbow, so there's a lot of things with rainbows on them, but you know, where is the line? How abstract can we get before before it would get flagged as a flag? I don't know. That should be yellow, I think. Let's finish up sorting them. Okay, well, look at that. So what I learned from doing this is that for some reason, the light blue is just so random. Like, I don't think I have an original one of this to show, but this fabric just looks untouched by this color. But then you do see on a different material, it worked really well. Interesting. Luckily for this, I am going to need more of a dark blue and a more light blue. So it seems like I'll have some variety. Like, yeah, I don't know. This is the same material, and just trust me that this one looks untouched. So I don't know. This is why we experiment. It's fun. Now I'm going to add in the ones that I did not dye. Look at this fabric. I love it so much, and it's a little bit sparkly. So this is the same material. This one I dyed purple and this is the original. So that's kind of weird. This just goes to show that even the dirtiest, most beat up, stained stash of fabric can still look cute if you dye it into a rainbow. Now, the next step that I really don't want to do, but I think I should, is I'm going to go through and cut these into the right size for fun while I'm doing this. I think I have there it is. I have a little thing here that shows the time, and we're going to see how long this takes. I think it's going to take an hour, so I think I'll be done at 4:42. Sometimes if there's something you don't want to do, it helps to time how long it takes, because then it doesn't seem so bad. I've been doing this for an hour, and I got done all the little ones, but I didn't even get to touch the big ones yet. So I think I'm going to just save that for another day. And what I'm going to do now is take these and arrange them into the flags. Arrange them into the quilts I'm making that are just quilts. Also, as always, don't use me as a tutorial, because something else that I didn't do that I probably should have done, but I didn't feel like it, is some of them really could have used ironing before I cut them, but I didn't feel like it. Actually, I'm really excited to iron because I have a new pressing mat that I got, but I just didn't feel like it right now. Benji's here. Okay, I'm gonna do a color theory lesson for Benji. Okay. So, you know, when we were doing the dyeing, that some of them didn't dye super like intensely, right? Like we have red and next to this, and it's like weak. This is a weak ass red, right?
Yeah.
Now, I'm not too worried about this because what I'm going to be demonstrating here, as long as you kind of have an average color that gets the gist, it'll be good enough. And specifically, it also depends what is beside it. So, like, I can have my reds, and it really doesn't matter how weak or strong they are, as long as the orange that they're beside is, like, more orange than the red is red. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, these two could be beside each other here, and you can tell that that's meant to be red and this is meant to be orange. You know?
Kind of like a half tone gives me the saturated colors that are here give me more like mid-tones.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like you could use it as a different color or like a gradient of your red or something like that.
So that's why we kind of just need to lay them all out and then mess around. Yep. So what's up?
Going to work, going to teach some stuff.
He's going to teach art because he's an art teacher.
Okay, love you.
Love you. Have fun. So looking at this all laid out here, basically everything that I tried to dye red, it must just be like the red dye that I have, leans a little bit more purple. Either that or the swatches that I was dyeing were just leaned a little bit more cool toned. So when that does, when you see it all here, is these pieces right here. Like, it's hard to see, but in real life, this is red. I would call this a red fabric. But when we see it in this context around everything else, something that I kind of didn't expect is that these look really orange, which makes sense now that I'm thinking about it, because again, they're next to a fairly like cool toned red. So what does that mean? Well, you know what? I was feeling like I was really short on orange. So I kind of wish that I'd known that I could have turned these into orange, because that would have saved me some work. But I'm also kind of short on red. So then I don't know. Or you know what? Now that I'm looking at this, okay, maybe what would make more sense would be to have, because you want good contrast between them. That's the whole point of what makes them look like stripes. So maybe on one, we would have sort of the darker here for the red, but then we would go to a light version for the orange to really get that contrast in there. And then maybe for the one that's just going to be stripes, I could have them all be a little bit lighter. I'm not too worried about that one because I feel like the contrast is going to be clearer. I think I'm just going to get them all down and then we'll see how it looks and adjust from there. Oh boy. I think this type of thing is close to good. So I'm going to take a picture of this and remember it. And then what I'm going to do is make the other design with the additional stripes and see if I can get that to make sense. You might have noticed yellow has a lot more than the other colors, and that's because of the big yellow triangle that's in this one. Okay, I don't know if this is going to make any sense or if you are going to be able to understand what's going on here. So all these ones here that are folded are like that because they're going to be triangles, right? So two of these together would make one half. This essentially would be mirrored at the bottom here. I think that that's showing up pretty well, that you see like the yellow, then it goes to white, then it goes pink, then it goes blue, then it goes brown, then it goes black. Now, obviously, most of the design here gets kind of taken up by the stripes, but I don't know. I don't think that that's a big deal. We're not going for perfection here, and it's just a quilt. What are you even comparing it to know how it's supposed to look? So I'm going to take a break and have some dinner, and then I think I'm going to start sewing the triangles together. I feel like if I sew all the triangles, press them, then cut them into the right size, then I can do the rows, and then it should work. What could possibly go wrong? I don't know. Okay, so first of all, this is going to be the most unflattering camera angle that you've ever seen ever in your life. I was trying to edit around it, but there's just no way to escape it. So we're just going to accept it's a bad camera angle. But here you can see I'm just kind of pushing through. Oh, hi, Maggie. What a sweetheart. Oh, and then I think I pick her up right here and move her out of the way because she was getting too close to the iron. Yep. So yeah, here I'm just taking all of the little pairs of squares and pushing them through kind of back to back through the sewing machine. Kind of creates these cool little long strings that sort of look like bunting flags. And then once I had all those done, I moved them over to the iron and started pressing them. Also with the world's most unflattering camera angle. Welcome back to next day of working on our quilt. If things look different, I got a different camera. Things change fast around here, but it's only been a couple days. So I'll show you what I got done last time. It's pretty exciting, actually. It's always funny after I clean up to then like not really have that much to show for it, but look at that. Okay, hold on. Let me adjust my camera here. Ready for this? Ready? Whoa, crazy. So we have this little piece right here. This piece kind of would go like that, I guess. And then this one. It's starting to kind of look like something, I think. Man, I just realized that I have something to do in an hour. That's so annoying. But I could work on this when I'm back from doing my thing. But yeah, Benji and I are going to a meeting that we have. So I could have time after. But I want to record something. You know what? Not planned. But I think I'm going to do... I just bought a little bundle of fabric from a quilting store. And I've been excited to take it apart and look at it. So I think as a little bonus video on my Patreon, I'm going to record that right now. You can check that out there. Otherwise, I'll meet you back later and we'll actually get started on this. We're back. It's later in the day. Meeting good. Benji's teaching an online class right now, so I'm going to try and not talk too loudly. I can normally tell what age range he's teaching by the tone of his voice. And he's doing a lot of like, wow, that's amazing. So I'm assuming the kids are pretty young. There's sort of this very cool consistent pattern forming of like white, yellow, white, pink, pink, blue, blue, brown, brown, black, black, and then whichever color of the rainbow we're at. So I've done red and orange so far. This one's going to be the yellow one. I realized I don't have my cutting mat set up. I'm going to make a deal with myself that as soon as I need it, I'll go get it. I won't be lazy and not do things that I should do. You know, something I was thinking about today is that the idea of like a quilted flag seems so novel for some reason. But like, that's gotta be how like every old flag was made, right? Like, I think that's why so many flag designs are just plain stripes of colors, because they were just really easy to make with fabric strips. That's why they didn't invent the Canadian flag until like 50 years ago, because the quilters of the world were like, I'm not dealing with that. I am waiting for a printer. While we're on the topic, fun little fact. I live in Ottawa. That's the capital of Canada. In Ottawa, we have the Parliament building, which has a clock tower on it called the Peace Tower. Very iconic. Also kind of looks like Big Ben if you squint hard enough. And of course, there's lots of flags that's around the Parliament area. But the one on top of the Peace Tower, that's kind of the Canada flag, the one that's on top of the biggest building in the capital of Canada, right? But did you guys know that they changed that flag every single day? Every day, new flag. Or every weekday. It's the government, so. And did you also know that, I guess since there's so many of them, that they have a lot of extras, any Canadian citizen can just ask for one. There's a form online that you can request one of the flags. But, oh, hi Megs. But before you run ahead and go do that, the wait list is 100 years long. So, I don't know, maybe sign your kid up and maybe they can get one. I remember that my high school had one of those flags, I think just in the library or something. Oh, Megs, why do you always have to sit in the worst spot? The high school I went to, like the institution, was very, very old. So I think I imagined it must be some like honor that they gave us. Then I found out that anybody can just get one. Okay, Mags, I think I'm gonna have to move you. So yeah, basically the wait time to get a flag is more than the age of the actual flag itself. And when else am I going to get to talk about flags? So I'm doing this right now because I don't really know what happened, but suddenly I feel like I'm missing a bunch of my half and half colors. The thing is, like, you can't take fabric that is the size that you want the end result to be and then make it into two perfect half and halves, because there's going to have to be a little bit of wiggle room in the seam for the diagonal part. And I just don't really care that much. I just kind of accept that I'll trim down all the other ones, I guess. But I think some of them were too small even with that. So yeah, I was looking around and I'm like, I don't see any more pink and blues here, and I'm going to need like 3 more. So I just went and got another little piece of denim, and that's what I've been using. Okay, so all of the strips are done now. So here, I'll show you sort of by the end color. So we have purple, blue, green, yellow, orange, and the red. So what I'm gonna do now is so obviously there's going to be more of the rainbow colors that's going to come out the edge, just a tiny bit. But I really want these to be lined up as good as I can possibly get them. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to press all of these and start trying to figure out how to line them up. I think I should be okay. So let's go. It's time for me to show you my new pressing mat. Oh, and I think with my camera I can go... and then now it should follow me while I walk to the other end of the room. Let's go. One reason that I was really excited for this project was because I get to test this new pressing mat I just got. Again, like, not affiliated or anything, but I got it from the site, I think just the feltstore.ca, and I ended up on their site because I was doing a little trick that I highly recommend. If you're ever looking to buy something that is just like kind of a chunk of material, so like for example, this wool pressing mat. It's just like 100% wool felt in a square. If you're ever trying to buy something like that that's like also can be used for a specific purpose, like a pressing mat, highly recommend just looking to see if you can buy a piece of the material that it's made from, because a lot of the time that'll be a lot cheaper. So I pressed all the things and now I'm gonna sew them together. These first two are lining up super well, so I'm hoping that everything will go that smoothly and it won't be a problem. So when I was originally thinking about this project, the plan was that I was going to do 3 different quilts. I was going to do the Progress Pride flag that you're watching me make right now. That's kind of been the main one in these last few clips. But I also wanted to do a small version of just the plain 6-stripe pride flag. And I wanted to do a bigger version of it using bigger sizes of fabric. So I did get the Progress Pride flag done. I did get this one done, so you'll see that in a minute. It looks really cool, but I did not get the other ones done. With the big one, I kind of made it worse for myself because I realized that I had cut out 6 of each color, and there was 6 different colors, meaning that if I just sewed it all together like that, it was going to make a big square instead of more of the rectangular shape that I wanted. So I decided to cut them each in half to make it closer to the right size, but that also meant that then I was doing 4 quilts instead of 3 when I've never really done anything like this before. So basically I way overdid it for this project and was way too ambitious. So that's going to add a little context to the rest of what you're going to see, is that I'm a little disappointed, but the one that I did get done is really, really cool. So the next day after what you're watching right now, I spent some time strategizing on that bigger quilt and laying out the different pieces. Also at this point I ran out of space to record on my computer, so it was just a mess. I really should have planned all of this a little bit better, but that's okay. But then I show you the finished quilt top and we'll go from there. Good afternoon. It's the next day now. I'm so excited to show you the final result. Okay, I'll just go get it and then I'll talk. Okay, are you ready? Look at that. Whoa. Yo. Oh man. I'm so happy. Like, I made this being pretty sure that it was going to work out well. But to be totally honest, as I was working on it a little bit, I was having my doubts. I don't know, even with everything I was saying about like how the colors will even out and how it'll all be fine. As I was working, I was like, I don't know if it's gonna be fine. Or I thought it was gonna be like maybe turn out so abstract that you would have no idea what it was meant to be. But no, that's pretty straight up exactly what I thought. I also realized this is going to be the first thing that I'm going to do binding on, because basically I have this, then I'm going to add another layer of something kind of like soft or more structured kind of on the back. Then I'm going to put on a backing just of like a plain piece of fabric to make it all nice. Then I'll do the quilting where I'm going to stitch over top of it. But basically at the end you have to put something around the outside, and that's going to be my first time doing that. Okay, listen, before you say anything, I bit off more than I could chew. I'll just tell you. So I decided to give myself one day to do all of the quilting and to do all of the binding, which I've never done before, on all 4 of these little quilts. Because there's 4 now that I'm doing. And that was stupid. And I realized a little bit too late today that was not going to happen. But the good news is that I did finish one that is in my hand right now. The only rule is don't look at the corners. Don't look. Ready? I guess I gotta do that in the mic. Ta-da! So this one was pretty straightforward, honestly. I did the little like diagonal lines there. The circle was a little bit interesting. I kind of got into this rhythm of knowing when the stitch was gonna like go down to the next one, and I would just rotate the fabric a little bit every time it was doing that. Worked fine. And I'll just quickly show you the other works in progress that I have. So this one is all quilted. It just needs the binding, and I learned a lot, and I'm gonna do it right for the other ones. And also I ordered bias tape. But yeah, I think that one's looking really cool. I also have this one, which I experimented with just kind of sewing it inside out, and it is kind of just giving body pillowcase vibes right now. But I imagine this one being more something that would flap in the wind, so I don't know, I'll figure out that later. And then I have this one, which I haven't done anything to except I put the backing fabric on it, and it's very, very long. I ended up being short on orange color after doing my dyeing, so if you're on my Patreon, I did a little unboxing of some quilting fabric I got, and this was one of them. I decided to put that in there as a emergency orange. So on one hand, I'm feeling a little bit disappointed because I didn't get done everything that I wanted to get done. But I don't know, I think it's good to just like show that sometimes things don't go as planned. And I will still finish the other ones. Maybe I'll do another video, or maybe I'll just post it on my Instagram or something. But, you know, don't use me as a tutorial. And we did get a very cool and beautiful little flag done here.